Okay, so once again, we are on page 21, Siman Vav. So yesterday we talked about the kavana that we are needed to have when we say brachos. Again, you should know what the words mean. But also, we learned about the intent and the focus we have to have when we say Hashem Hashem. Adon Shem, Adon Kol, Hayahovaviyah, and Elokim, Takis Kol Kol Yuchol, Baal Kochos Kulam. And that's very important. Vav, amazing halacha. And as you get older, it shouldn't be that way. You should appreciate when. But as you get older, you really appreciate it. Keshiyetze mibeis hakisei. So when a person leaves the restroom, you should make a bracha. So again, we discussed yesterday one aspect of this, but from the Marsham. But we make the bracha that Hashem created man with wisdom. So what does that mean? So the Mechaber explains, Shebrias ha'adam hi chachma nifla'a, because the creation of man is not miraculous, it's wondrous. Nifla is a... So now again, not to get onto a tangent, but this is an amazing concept, right? When we thank Hashem when we leave the bathroom. In other words, we have a constant connection and awareness of Hashem. So I know it, like at Arachim, they bring this up, and it's a very powerful thing, right? What other religion does such a thing, you know? But indeed, it's as Chazal formed the bracha. It's really true. The creation of man is amazing. So again, Dr. Pine said a few years ago, it's always amazing to me. All these people who believe in evolution, they say science. First of all, it's a theory. It's not scientific at all. Second of all, the science is that there's a creator. Because the statistic, that's what Dr. Pine's talking about, that things just happen without any intellectual design, as they call it, is points like 0.0000. You take it to any statistics professor, it's beyond impossible. So that's the science. And because that's the point. The point is that all these, again, if you ever listen to Rabbi Victor Miller, the body is so unbelievable. It's not a nace, it's a pella. Why? It's wondrous. Next page. Why is this? Because the body is like a node. A node is, in the old days, they used to, maybe even today, I don't know, some cultures, they had, I think they call it a bladder, a drinking bladder. It was at a sack, right? A sack, and they put a liquid into it, and they drank from it. They have fancier contraptions. It's basically the same thing, but like people who run, they have these sacks, and they have a straw that comes over your shoulder, and you can drink it while you're running. But basically it's a node. And so it's a sack, malei ruach, that's full of air, v'hu malei nekavim, and it's also full of holes, as we'll see later. So now, how do you understand that? How can you have a sack that's full of something, but full of holes? So we'll see a little more about that later. V'yesh mefarshim, some explain, but chachma, what's the chachma? This is a very interesting idea. Shehiskim mezonosav shel adam harishon ve'achar kakbaro. That Hashem first put all the things that a human being would need, all the mezonos, again the food, but also anything like air, right? Everything was set into place, and Hashem put Adam HaRishon in a place that it was a set table, right? Not like fast food, but like a fancy restaurant. You sit down, and everything's brought to you. That's the way that man was created. It's an amazing idea, but I saw Rav Isaac Sher points out that when we just went through Tisha B'Av, think about Tisha B'Av, about Golos. So what do we think of Golos? Think about, the destruction of Beis Hamikdash, which is true. Don't get misunderstand. And we're out of Eretz Yisrael and we're in Galus. It's true, but he said when you really think about it, what's Galus? How we've been in Galus since the first day of creation. Because it's a very powerful idea. He says, where was a man supposed to be? In Gan Eden. That is the original design. And in Gan Eden, again, everything is provided for you. Right? The Malachim bring you nothing. Right? So he said, really, that's the original Golus. When we think about Golus, it's not just Eretz Yisrael and Beis Hamikdash, which is obviously true. But in a bigger sense is, look how far away we are from the original plan. So again, that's why Hashem did. Hashem prepared everything for Adam Rishon before right? As soon as he opens his eyes, everything is taken care of. Let's go a little onward. So Hashem created man with Chachma. Uvaravo nekavim chalalim chalalim. Hashem created all these little openings and all these apertures or open areas. Perush. What does that mean? Nekavim rabim. There's many openings, holes, apertures. Kigon peva chosam piadabas. That there is the mouth and the nose and the excrement area channel. And also there's many limbs, so to speak, if you want to use that word, that are hollow. You're going to lave, like the heart, right? All the blood, but it's really, you can't take out the blood or else the person will die. But right, it's basically empty. It's empty chambers. I am the stomach and the intestines. That what? If one of them became closed, yes, I know what you're about to say. We say, Shimi paseach chachamehem. So Mishnah Berurah says that that's what we say. We say first, Shimi paseach chachamehem, right? Yes. Mishnah Berurah base. He says the Shimi Sata, this is the Girsa, this is the text of the Rambam. But the Girsa we have, Rashi and the Rif and the Rosh says, Shimi Paseach HaChamem. Then, afterwards, Oyusatam HaChamem. If one of these things would open, or one would close, so the Machaber continues, Kilomer, that is to say, Sha'nekavim Yesh Nekav Echad. So, for example, certain of these things have one hole, like for example the mouth. So the mouth, keshehu b'mei imo, when the fetus, when the baby, the child is in its mother's womb, in vitro, who sosum, the mouth is closed. And then all of a sudden, baby comes out, open. I think it is, because I know of a case that the baby ingested something and it was very sick. Right, but here we're talking about, like the case I'm thinking of, that again, Hashem first of all, it only ingests nutrition through the belly button. Right?
It drinks and the practice swallowing. I
don't know.
remember telling my daughter's watching on ultrasound, if the baby gulps.
No, but the mouth is closed though.
No.
I don't know. Because I know of a case, in fact, the guy's a doctor, that the child ingested something in vitro, in the womb. And Baruch Hashem was like, but when the baby came out, it was serious. So I was thinking about that. That's all I could tell you. I know the case. Here we go. V'im kishiyotze la'avir ha'olam. But let's say when the child comes out to the world, hu nishar sasum, stays closed. Anything? Lo haya actually is kaima filu sha'achas. I know of a case, a baby didn't want to eat. I know the case very well, actually. And it was a very big problem. Baby didn't want to eat. So it's sort of like, it's not exactly what the Mechaber is saying. He's talking about that if it was closed. But again, it's the same idea. And we take it for granted that people want to eat and swallow and all. Not necessarily. Again, I think of that case often. I mean, Baruch Hashem, the kid's okay. But it was years they had to feed the baby through a nasal tube. Right? So when you see that, you thank Hashem, So people eat, people swallow, who thinks about that? So then Hashem throws you a curveball. Right? Doesn't have to be that way. Because it would be impossible to survive even one moment. We'll talk about that, right? When we get to towards the end of the bracha, there's different girsos. And we Ashkenazim, we don't say afilu sha'achas. So we'll see about that. But again, obviously, if something that's open would close or something closed would open, doesn't last too long. The chalulim, and many of them are hollow. Many of the limbs or organs are open. Imhaya niftacha kameham. Right. Also, another explanation is there is a boundary. There's a limit to if a human being has an opening, an aperture, which closes chas v'shalom, that he will not die. He'll be able to live. V'kivan she'avra osagvul. But once that amount of time passes, again, it might be very short, it might be a little longer, but, right? Right? If a person can eliminate, it's very serious, right? I know someone who had something happen to them, and they couldn't urinate. That's very serious. I know a few people. Again, that's the idea of this bracha. A few people told me that when they were relieved of that, they made an asher yatzar like never made before, right? But again, I'm not saying you have to make an asher yatzar all the time like that. But again, wow. The kivan shebechal and the kavim hipiatavas, included in these openings is the anal area, pia ama, and where the urine comes out from. Or else the stomach or the intestines. I know some people, intestinal blockage, the Rashiva had it. I remember, I don't think I was in Yeshiva when he had the surgery, but he got sick very badly a few times after the scar tissue built up and blocked his intestines. Very serious. So again, that's almost a haskell, right? So you get the surgery and it works. And then, it's crazy. So gadlus habore. Shaper haveshevak. So it's definitely a praise of Hashem. Shevak zeh me'inyan asiyat sarchav. So we can understand why Chazal connected to going to the bathroom. That this, really we should say it more often, right? So, the old joke about Asher Yatza complaining, so Hashem puts it in a chasana, right? Asher Yatza Tzalma B'Zah Rakata Hashem Yotzer Hadam, right? So but it's not joke time. Yeah, and the moms are in that. Okay, listen. The Efshar, it's supposed to be a true story. I think my father-in-law, Al-Basham, was there when that joke was said by this big Talmud Chacham. But let's leave it. The Efshar Od, another explanation. Now again, the Mechaber is giving us many different angles to the Bracha Sheyatzar. Right? So I believe, he says Efshar Od, right? All these different explanations, they're probably all true. I mean, not probably. They're all true. Like, all these ideas that the Mechaber is saying in Bayasha Yotzar, They're all true. Sheme'achar she'im yotze l'nekavav biyoser. Let's say if a person goes to the bathroom too much, right? Ad she'im avar gvul yamos, right? You go over the line, person would die, right? Dehydration or, right? Go to the bathroom too much. So that's included in the bracha if one would open. Well, this is normally supposed to be open. It opens too much. This is an amazing thing. That's a part of it if one would open. In other words, something that's really is open and should be open, opens too much. Right? It's an amazing thing. How does Hashem do that? It's an amazing thing. Again, so Rofe Choli Kol Basar. Rofe Choli Basar. So we're continuing with the bracha. So again, yes, the Mishnah Berurah brings on the Bach and the Shla. It says you don't say Choli, Rofe Kol Basar. Okay, again, whatever the person's nusach is. So Hashem heals the ill of all flesh. Because again, what's this whole thing is that it's an amazing, amazing thing that we have food, we need food. We need sustenance, we need water, we need whatever we ingest for survival, but the body filters it out. Amazing. And the body filters it out and filters out, gets rid of, excretes whatever we don't need, right? Because I'll say the mun, that was one of the problems people had because it was the perfect food. It got totally absorbed. So what does that mean? Ki'im is afeish bebet and yamos. How many people think about this? How about if the food was not eliminated? Right? In other words, the body, God forbid, chas v'shalom, did not filter out, winnow out the bad from the good and just kept everything in. Again, that's what Klal Yisrael was wondering. I was like, this is not normal. But again, that was the man. It doesn't work that way, except for that exception. But imagine, chas v'shalom, if that would happen. So eliminating all that stuff is a refuah, right? I don't know, millions, maybe billions of dollars are spent on all this stuff people take over the counter to help them go to the bathroom. Mafli lasos, and it's wondrous what Hashem does. As we said before, since the body, a human, is like this bladder or this receptacle which is full of air. Ve'im yasa adam b'no nekav kechula shamacha ruach yotze. So imagine you make a hole, a little tiny hole. Yes, I know. I used to do it in yeshiva for a little while. At a chasana, I had this special needle, like a big needle. I bought some magic tricks at a store in Flatbush once to do at chasanas. Didn't last that long, but for a little while. So I had these balloons, and they were special balloons, and you blew them up, and you stick in the needle, it's a long needle, and they don't explode. It was really cool. A special balloon, and also the needle. Also, they were made for each other. Yeah. So okay, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about stomach. Like if you take a regular balloon and stick a needle into it, what's going to happen? Yeah, very quickly. Don't last too long. So, we're over time. Oh, I'm sorry. I lost track of time. Okay, Meretz Hashem. So we'll pick it up, Meretz Hashem,